I feel like you need a pipe.
I feel like I have heard it.
Purple Passion. The Fable. Where to start? It was the beginning of autumn. The sun was in the sky. The clouds were clear. And dawn was rising upon a small child.
The sun was in the sky, but the dawn was still rising.
The sun was nearly in the sky. But because of refraction of the earth, you actually see the sun when it's down below. So yeah, that's scientifically correct. The sun looked like it was in the sky.
Technically speaking, the sun
but
is
it was
always,
actually
technically
rising.
speaking, the sun is always in the sky.
Again.
I'll just hit you with some
He's
fucking
waiting
knowledge.
for the story to carry on. When the music's playing, the story
This guy.
begins.
And a small child, we won't name him.
We'll call him Gary.
We'll call him Joe for the sake of the story.
Joe. Little Joe. Oh, how his mother loved him. And the rest of his extended family also loved him. And
It's lasted 2 minutes so far.
he was sitting in class, in English class.
While the dawn was breaking, he was in English.
This school gets up pretty early, I think. It was autumn. The nights were drawing.
It was a boarding school. They spent most of
It was a
time
boarding.
learning.
It was a boarding school. He had slept there the night because he lived there. And actually, that's not true. It wasn't a boarding school.
Keep going, music, keep going. There we go.
It wasn't a boarding school. Yeah,
It's been happening since we
it
got
was
Who's up there?
in his English lesson, and the
already.
teacher says to the class already. Class. She addresses them as class because they are a class.
Were they class A?
No, they were class
The story's changing 'cause the
17B.
music's different.
17B. That's not significant to the story, but it's a fact. They were 17B. And she called them class because the other classes weren't there, so she didn't need to differentiate between the classes. She just had to say class, and they knew who she was talking to. So she said, class, she said, I want you to write me a story, and the title can be anything in your wildest imaginations.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so, little Joe boy, little Joe,
Joey boy.
Young Joey.
young Joey boy, he was a boy.
His name's Joe.
People just called him Joe though. He got to his story, and he was so absorbed into this story, so passionate. He decided, once he'd finished the story, he wrote the story. Beautiful requiem on society.
I got Requiem in a Scrabble a couple of weeks ago.
Scrabble. That's a high score. That's a high score.
It was on a triple word score.
And he decided that he would call his story Purple Passion. Purple for the deep colour of his passion. Purple Passion.
Joe, you don't have enough battery on that thing for this.
And well, the boy handed in his work with such pride, and when he handed it to his teacher, she stood aghast. She had only reached the title. She stood aghast, staring at it, taking it all in. She looked mortified for some unknown reason, unbeknown to Joe Boy. She sent him to the head teachers, and Joe thought, why is she sending me to them?
What is happening up there?
That's Joe's despair. He's
Echoing through
why?
walls.
Why send me to the head teacher's office? And he gets there, and he sits down by the mahogany
I'm
desk.
scared what's happening up there.
The chair was swiveled away from him, and when he sat down, it swiveled round ominously, revealing the head teacher
Go on, Tom,
with
play
such a
that.
stern, solemn look on his face. He said to Joe, he said, "Why are you in my office?" And Joe says, "I've written a story. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why it's wrong. I'm only 5 years old." Joe's 5. "I don't know why I'm here. All I did was I wrote a story entitled Purple Passion." And at that, the head teacher's face turned to a purple akin to the passion of Joe. And he just sent him home. Not only did he send him home, but he expelled him from the school. So he had to go home. It wasn't a boarding school, he had a home. He could go home.
Oh, cool.
And when he got home, on his way home, the weather had changed from such a beautiful, clear day to a stormy, rainy, lightning-y. You get the picture.
Yeah.
Quite a shit day. And
It turned fucking awful.
yeah. And
Yeah.
and he got home, and his mother was in the kitchen when he found her. And she was standing there. She didn't expect him home so early, and she said, Why, Joe? Why are you home so early? Why are you here in front of me? With tears streaming down your face. Why are you here?
Why?
Hi. And Joe looked at his mum and said, "Mum, I've been expelled. I've been expelled from school. I don't know why. All I did was write a book. Not a book, just a story. Just a story. Entitled Purple Passion." And with that, his mother just stormed upstairs and packed all his things in bags and threw them onto the sidewalk and threw him out of her house without a word. He was alone on the streets,
And only 5.
on the pavement, 5 years old. Joe then moved to the city, London, the city.
5-year-old.
A 5-year-old.
At this time he was 6.
No, he was still 5.
Oh god.
But as the years went on, he increased in age and he matured, and he learnt the ways of the streets. He learnt to live on the streets as a hobo, as a bum, begging for money, but not when the cops look, because that's now illegal. But he was good. He was a good hobo. He never used his change on drugs. He always bought food, and he had his sleeping bag. And one day he was sitting in an alleyway with a bunch of other hobos. He was about 15 now. He was about 15. Was Joe. He was sitting in an alleyway with his hobo friends when they were all telling their stories of how they grew up and were thrown out and decided to run away from home. And little Pete, how he had been thrown onto the streets by his mother too, like Joe. They had found a bond in their societal struggle. And
Poor Pete.
when it came to little Joe boy to explain, Pete said, "Joe, how did you come to be a street child,
Street
urchin?
urchin.
How did you come to learn the ways of the street and live among us, and the rats, and the alley cats, and the bats?" And he said, "When I was just 5 years old, I wrote a story entitled Purple Passion." And Pete says to him, he says, "I will tell you the meaning of Purple Passion and enlighten you as to why you were thrown out into the streets. If you take this money, all my money I have, go over to that shop across the road and buy me a burger." There happened to be a McDonald's and he wanted a chicken legend meal, which is how much is chicken legend?
69.
Which was $4.69. Pete had precisely $4.69 to give Joe, and Joe said, "This is it. Finally, I will know. Maybe I will be able to go home and apologise and be reaccepted by my family and my school and resume a normal life." And Joe felt so caught up in the moment that as he was crossing the road, a bus came and killed little Joe.
Ryan!
Is that the story?